Hello and welcome back. We'll continue to look at basketball data, and today we'll look at NBA teams and also NBA players and use clustering methods to group them into different clusters based on their performance in the season. So, once again, the season data that we are using is 2017 and 2018, and it involves 30 NBA teams and more than 600 NBA players. Let's get started. We'll start by copying codes available below this video into our studio. So we will need this basketball analyzer package. So I'm going to run this. Now for team dataset, I'm going to use tbox. If you look at structure of this data, this is what we get. So in this data, we have 30 teams and there are 23 variables related to their performance in 2017-2018 season. So first column is name of the team. So from T box, I will keep all the rows, but minus C and then 1 comma 2 means I'm going to remove columns 1 and 2. So if you look at this data now, it has 21 variables and you can see first two variables are removed. And the reason I have removed these two variables is because for doing a cluster analysis, we need quantitative variables. So first we'll do the most popular clustering method called k-means clustering. So the function that we use is called k-clustering, and I'm going to save information of this analysis in KC. And then we can plot KC. So this is what we get. On the x-axis, it tells us number of clusters, for example, 2, 4, 6, and so on. And on the y-axis, we have BD divided by TD. So BD, which is between deviance, so B in BD stands for between, and deviance captures variability. So BD captures a variability between the clusters, and TD is the total variability captured in the data. So for good clustering or grouping, we want between group variability to be high. So you can see that if we consider all 30 teams into just one group, then this value is at its lowest. And then if we consider two separate groups, BD by TD increases to about 19%. So as we keep on increasing number of groups, you will see that this number is going to increase. The only thing is that at some point this increase is going to slow down. So you can see that in the beginning there is a big jump, almost 20%, and then from 20 it goes to 31. This increase is captured by these dotted lines that you see. For example, if you want to calculate this percentage, let me quickly do this math. Difference between these 2 points divided by this original point. So that is 58.8. So that's what we see here, 58.8. So similarly, increase when we go from 3 clusters to 4 clusters, BD by TD increases by about 25.7%. And then when we go from 4 to 5 clusters, it increases by only 15%. So you can already see this increase is slowing down. Now, one thing you may notice, if you are going to run this again, you will see that numbers are going to change slightly because the way these groupings are done, there is some amount of randomness. And if you want to freeze that, what we can do is before we run this k-means clustering, we can use set.seed and use a fixed number. So now if I run this, let's say once, and just notice this number is 58.78, and if I run this again, you can see this remains 58.78. So whether you run this on your computer or I run this on my computer, we are going to get same results as long as you use set.seed 1, 2, 3. What I will do is, looking at this chart, I would say let's go with 6 groupings or 6 clusters, which has more than 10% improvement. For that, I'm just going to copy paste these 3 lines. And when doing k-means clustering, I'm going to provide a specific number of cluster now. So we are specifying we will use 6 clusters for this analysis. And let's also use labels for the groupings. So in our team box data or T box data, we'll specify first column, which is team. So in team box data, we are going to specify this first column called team. So we can run this. So it will quickly do k-means clustering. And then for plotting, I'm also going to say profiles as true. We can see that it generates 6 spider plots. For each grouping or cluster, we can see how these teams have performed compared to average performance. For example, teams in the first group, you can see that there is a dotted blue line, which is average performance during that season from all the teams. And these teams have performed actually even lower than that in many cases, and very slightly better performance in some other cases. For example, we see that defensive rebound by teams in this group are slightly higher than average, but offensive rebounds are lower than the average performance. And these teams have also performed slightly over average for 3 points attempted and 3 points made. If you look at teams in cluster 3, so obviously they have much higher number of losses, and their performance on various metrics is below average. Teams in this grouping has outstanding performances in many areas compared to average. So they have a lot of wins, and they have a lot of 3 points attempted, and also they are among the highest in 3 points made. Their performance in steals is also very high compared to average, and they are higher in defensive rebounds compared to average team. If you want to look at like further details about the teams in this clustering, you can select this KC where all the analysis is stored and have a look at it. So if I select KC and run, we get this output where each team has been identified, like which cluster they belong to. For example, Boston Celtics belongs to group 1, which is this cluster. Los Angeles Lakers belong to cluster 6, which is this one. So you have like these teams in cluster 1, these in cluster 2, cluster 3. Cluster 4 has only one team, Rockets. So this performance that you see is based on just one team. And then 5 has Golden State Warriors, and 6th cluster has these 6 teams. The plots that we see for each cluster is based on this data, where we have all the averages for each grouping. So this is an example of k-means clustering, where we can specify number of clusters and then get this output. Another method for groupings which is popular is hierarchical clustering, and function called H clustering can do that. So I'm going to again specify a set.seed to ensure repeatability of the outcome. So when we run this and plot it, so obviously these numbers are going to be different because this is a different algorithm, and the way it groups data is different from k-means clustering. Looking at this, I'm still going to use 6 clusters based on hierarchical clustering, and let's see what we get. So we'll copy paste this information and then modify the codes. And the plot for hierarchical clustering usually is a dendrogram. It's like a tree. So let's run this. So this is the picture we get. We get this dendrogram. To get a better output, we can slightly modify this code. So we'll use a rectangle for each grouping, and we'll also have colored branches, and we can modify size of the labels using cex.labels. So let's go with the 0.5. So you can see now we have a rectangle for each grouping. Actually, this size looks slightly small, so let's increase this. Grouping 1 actually has a lot of teams like Pistons, Bulls, etc. And looks like Houston Rockets and Golden State Warriors in 2017-2018 had outstanding season. So that's why probably they stand out as a single team and they have their own cluster. And then you have this cluster 2, cluster 3 and cluster 6. So we can do similar groupings for players as well. So let's go down. So we have team and player in first two columns, and then we have other performance related data. Similar to the previous situation, we'll get rid of first two columns. So in this data, you'll see that there are 605 observations, so that many players, and there are 20 variables. To reduce this number of players, because it may be difficult to put every player on this plot, so I'm going to reduce the number using this line. So we'll take subset of data in such a way that we'll use only those players who have more than 2000 minutes. So we'll store this in data. So you can see immediately from like more than 600, we are down to only 99. So we'll store player names in ID by running this line. So we'll use 123 as set.seed, and we can run this. So you can see that when we go from like 2 groupings to 3 groupings or 3 clusters, we see a huge improvement. So there's a 60% improvement. But when we go from 3 to 4, the improvement is only 11%. And after that, you have 9, 6, and so on. So this time, let's go with the 4 clusters. I'm going to copy and paste this and modify the code. So we can run this now. So players have been grouped into 4 clusters, and you can see very clearly that cluster 1 has some outstanding performances in some areas, defensive rebound and offensive rebound. So the players who are in this group, they do really well defensively, and the numbers are much higher than this dotted line. They also have a very high number of blocks compared to average. Players in this group have very high overall performance. So they have high assist, high 2-point attempted and 2 points made, high number of points, and also free throws attempted and free throws made are quite high. Players in cluster 3 are very close to the average overall, and players in cluster 4 in this season have below average performance. If you want to look at who are the players in each cluster, once again you can select KC and run. So you can see who are the players belonging to cluster 1. So very strong defensive players. And then you can see who are the players belonging to cluster 2 who had outstanding performance overall. Third group of players who are like very close to average. So all these players had average performance in 2017-2018 season. And then in group 4, you have players who can forget this season because they did not really have any good performance. Similarly, if we use the second type of algorithm, which is hierarchical clustering, we can again start with set.seed. So once again, probably 4 or 5 clusters seem to be useful in this case, because after that, the numbers drop drastically. So since earlier also we used 4, I'm going to stick with 4. So let's copy, paste and modify. So we can run this now. So you can see some of the top players are in this cluster, like LeBron James, Westbrook, Giannis, and so on. And similarly, you have other 3 clusters. In fact, you want to look at the numbers, actual numbers, you can also run HC. So this can give you like who are the players in different clusters. So this is cluster 1, which refers to this cluster 1, which is green in color. And then you have cluster 2 players, cluster 3 players, and cluster 4 players. It also gives you standardized averages in each cluster. So for example, players in cluster 3, on an average, they spend much more time compared to other 3 groups. Players in cluster 2 spend actually least amount of time on floor. You can say that 0 is the average, and because this is plus 1.3, so they spend much more time compared to an average player. And this is much below 0, so you can say these players spend less time. Similarly, players in cluster 3 compared to average player, they end up with much more points. And players in cluster 2, so negative means that players in cluster 2 make very few points. So 2 points made, again on the positive side, 2 points attempted, also on the positive side, and 3 points made and 3 points attempted, also higher compared to other groups. If you look at offensive rebounds, then players in group 4 have much higher values. Similarly, for defensive rebounds also, players in group 4 have much higher values. For blocks, also you have players in group 4. So basically players in group 4 are mostly defensive players. So this was a quick overview of like how you can group NBA teams and players using clustering methods. I hope you found this interesting. Hope to see you soon.